Hello again and welcome back to another MCI Studio tutorial. I'm Pippin Henderson and today we're going to be talking about the concrete limiter. You can get this at the Cakewalk website. It doesn't come with Sonar X1 Producer Edition. You do have to purchase it separately, but it's well worth the buy. It's especially fantastic on drums, and that's what we're going to be demonstrating today. We've got a Session Drummer 3 layout. We've got a multi-track setup, so our kick, snare, hi-hat and toms are all on separate tracks, and we're going to be adding the concrete limiter to our kick drum. So let's highlight our kick drum, and we're going to highlight here in the Pro channel, and the concrete limiter is one of three, I think, Pro channel modules that are available to download. There's also a soft tube pack that's available on Cakewalk to download, but we're going to be dealing with the concrete limiter. So there we are, there she is, that's what it looks like. And what this basically does is it's going to be limiting our output level and boosting up the lower levels that aren't quite at the same level as the higher levels. So it's going to enable us to add a lot of bottom end, a lot of thud, a lot of warmth without overpeaking and distorting the mix. So let's bring up our Session Drummer 3. I'm going to solo the kick drum, and there we go. And what we're going to do, just give it that. What we're going to do is we're going to move this threshold down so it's below where this white mark is reaching, and this white mark is representing the peak at which the level of the input is reaching. And you see it hangs there for a little bit. What we want to do is to lower our threshold so it is below that peak there. And immediately you can hear a much warmer thud to the kick drum. And if you do find that the kick is, or whatever it is you've got the concrete limiter on, after lowering the threshold, if you find yourself hearing that it's gotten louder, we can always lower the ceiling volume here to make up for that gain that may be being added. So there we are, two simple little slides, and we've got a really nice warm thud now. That's before, and that's after. Now check out the overall level of our kick drum here on the track. And that's before, and that's after. And you notice there's no increase in gain, in volume, there's no distortion issues. Another nice thing that we have as well to our arsenal is this lovely little switch here, simply named bass. Now when we turn that on, you'll notice a big difference. It's added even more bass, a load more bottom end, it's made it sound much warmer. That's off. That's on. That's all of it off. That's all of it on, with no increase in gain at all. We can adjust our own release. If we just take it off auto, we can adjust our own release settings here. We'll put it back on auto and it'll do that for us. Now there's a lot going on behind this concrete limiter that you don't actually have to do. And the one reason why they say that they've added this bass switch is because that when you limit something, especially something with a lot of bass such as a kick drum or bass itself, when you limit something or when you over compress something, you tend to lose a lot of that bottom end. So what this button is trying to do, in which it succeeds very successfully, is introduce that bottom end back into the mix that can sometimes be lost when you're limiting or compressing something too much. And it works very, very well, like you heard there. It adds a really nice thud to that kick drum. Really nice for those guys who are working with metal, who want that distinctive kick drum sound that metal drummers, you can hear. Just go and pick up any metal CD, and the most distinctive sound in a metal song is the kick drum. And you have to get that right if you're mixing metal, and it can be very, very difficult, very, very awkward, and the concrete limiter can just make that job a little bit easier. So let's unsolo this kick drum now. I'm going to remove the concrete limiter from the kick, and let's add the concrete limiter now to our drum bus. So all our drums are being routed to the drums, this drum bus here. Let's just get rid of those. Oh, if you're noticing that I have a different EQ to you, it's because I've downloaded the X1D patch. So if you are seeing things you're not familiar with, it's because of that. And that is also available from the Cakewalk website. If you haven't got it already, go and get it now. It's available. Go and download it. And if you've got Sonar X1 Producer Expanded, you'll get this really nice, lovely EQ. And a bunch of other stuff as well that I'll go into in another tutorial perhaps. But I've also got the patch release notes on my website at www.mcistudio.co.uk. So go and check that out, and I think there's a video there as well. Okay, so let's crack on. Let's bring up our session drummer 3 again, highlight our drum bus, and let's insert the concrete limiter now into the whole bus. So the concrete limiter is now affecting the entire drum kit. So let's start a beat. There we go. Okay, so let's lower this threshold now. Lower our ceiling volume to compensate for that gain. We can always check just by switching it off and just seeing how much gain is being introduced, and adjusting our ceiling level accordingly. That seems about right. Now let's add this bass button in. So this is the whole kit now being routed through this concrete limiter, and it's adding really nice warmth. And that's without, and that's with. So there you go. That is the concrete limiter. It's a wonderful, wonderful addition to the Pro channel. I highly recommend it. Go and get it. Go and pick it up and put it on all kinds of stuff. See what sounds you can get out of it. That's the one thing you do when you do get this concrete limiter is you throw it on everything and think it's going to solve everything and make everything sound amazing. And maybe it will. So go ahead and experiment, have fun, and I will see you next time for another MCI Studio tutorial. I've been Pippin Henderson, and I will see you next time.